What is up, guys? Mystar back with another video. I just wanted to jump on and do a quick little live. I just wanted to talk about because I came across the show One Piece, and I didn't even watch it because I've already watched like a large chunk of that show, anyways. So I just the idea of the show just came to my mind as I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wow, it's really about because when it comes to shows, especially um the really popular shows and stuff like that, the ones that are really good and like usually get put in the limelight, as you know, like usually that's controlled by the Freemasons or the shadows or whatever the heck you want to call those beings and peoples. When it comes to those kind of movies, there's always a way to break them down. There's a few different ways you can look at it, but one way to break down is by looking at the main character as like the main person in the show. Like if anything, it's the only person. So everything that goes on within the show is like a reflection of like what's going on within that main character's inner world. And if you look at like all the different characters, especially the main ones, that's why a lot of the time in those shows, those characters end up being like looking similar to the main character and stuff like that. So all of those kind of stuff literally ties in. But that's a little like preface about how to break down those shows. And so when you see the different characteristics of the main character based on like all the different characters in the show, this is what allows you to kind of see behind the scenes because it's normally pretty accurate and you can usually put a lot of different connections. So I wanted to get into that. What's then enough of the freaking explanations. Bish getting a little bit impatient. So what's it called? Also, I'm low-key serving Miss Leia, but that's besides the point. Miss Leia, Princess Leia. Why do I say everything Miss? Like, don't know what's going on there, love. Anywho's, anywheres, when it comes to the One Piece, right? Everyone's Luffy in that show. Everyone's just another aspect of Luffy within himself. So whenever he's fighting certain characters, it's Luffy fighting off like a version of himself or a character or a thought or a feeling, whatever you want to call it, within his mind. So he's trying to battle these things and become like more in harmony with his mind, which is also why like during the journey that he goes on, he ends up like battling people and then he ends up gaining friends usually during the battle, which also help him to fight off certain, thoughts and feelings. And usually these friends like obviously represent like another positive characteristic of Luffy, the main character in the show. And that's why he wants to be Pirate King, right? He wants to be the king of like what's it called? What do pirates do? They sail the seas and we swim in like waters when it comes to the air, like all the water. The air is just a less dense form of the water. And so we're swimming in thoughts and feelings, which is why you can pick up on my vibe, I can pick up on your vibe, because it's like a esoteric water of, well, I guess you could say. I'm not sure if that's the right term that I'm using right there, but it's along those lines. And when it comes to what's it called? I had a point, bruh. The weed be hit. Anyways, when it comes to those characteristics, right? I thought maybe if I start talking, it might come to me. So yeah, what's it called? Anyways, I'll just start talking about something else about the show. When it comes to the One Piece, the One Piece is like I was thinking about the specific name of the One Piece and how it like kind of relates to the whole entire show. And the One Piece is like obviously a representation of like going back to like a state of peace, first of all, because it's literally peace, like one piece, like an individual state of peace. And one represents the first house in astrology, which is talking about the I am. And so like it's talking about like taking themselves, the main character, Luffy, back to being one piece, back to feeling whole, back to feeling fulfilled, being able to understand the many different aspects of himself, the many different faces, the many different characters. So like really in a sense, this is why I think as well people say, some people say that the One Piece won't end and that he won't find it or something like that. Anyways, I think that unknowingly, it's like been some, because really if you think about it, like we're always in search of some sense of fulfillment, some sense of peace, but like as being spirits and bodies, like the always is quite strong there if you know life and you know experiences in general. And we obviously know like from experiences that, you know, even when you get to a sense of fulfillment, there's also a certain part or a certain state where you end up feeling unfulfilled again, and then you have to get to that space of fulfillment again, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's a kind of allegory of what's going on when it comes to Luffy searching for the One Piece. And anyways, I was thinking about like the One Piece joke or something about like the friends we made along the way. Like some people like joke about that. I don't even see this shit online, by the way. I literally just hear about this shit from like other people. So I'm not much for explaining them in great detail, you know? The words, man, the words, that Gemini Mercury. And so when it comes to the One Piece, like it's getting to that sense of being fulfilled, getting to that one space of fulfillment, which is like kind of like a constant everyday thing, you know? And that's why I think as well, like the show stretched out for so long because and it's trying to emulate a certain message, like beyond just like friendship or, you know, shit like that. In a sense, I think as well, the One Piece is also a representation of connecting back to all possibilities, connecting back to like no thing. You're out everyone's space before we became aware as spirits, before we created a mind and a body for us to inhabit, that kind of shit. Which is a lot of that shit is from Dollar to Part. All of that shit. I'm just gonna say it how it is. I don't know why I said a lot. All of that shit, all of that stuff is from Dollar to Parliament's channel. So if you want to learn more about that, you can definitely check him out. But I'll do my best to explain it in the way that I can. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. I just had that thought. Because I was just starting to think maybe that's not my do. But yeah, I wanted to explain it a little bit regardless. Getting back to that space of all possibilities where you can just kind of be in that space of creating, of being the actual in that observer space. But before it was the observer, because we are observing minds and bodies right now, and that's all you've really ever been aware of, right? So you're building something in your mind, which is a awareness. You're constantly using awareness to perceive the world around you, and that's like the substance that you use to create and will things into reality too. And so we all collectively share awareness, and we all use that to help create our realities, like and shit like that, you know? It's bloody crazy, but that's how you can manifest, like that's how you can like just think and feel certain ways and like things happen, you know? Sometimes it's like magic, and that's really like life. But like you just forgot that that's actually life. And that's actually what we're all doing. And through our awareness, we're creating minds and bodies. But it's very difficult to become unaware of something, and it's very difficult to rid yourself of things, right? It's very difficult to shed certain things sometimes for certain people. And even when it comes to physically, in the physical reality, like we like as a population sometimes find it difficult to get rid of like trash and rubbish and stuff like that. Pollution, that's why like those kind of things are an issue, because in creating minds and bodies, we also have that little conundrum of not being able to step out of that for longer periods of time, if that makes sense. Even when you do jump out of your mind, you're still using some form of awareness, even if it's a lighter form of a body. You're always using some form of awareness to be aware of whatever you just jumped out of whatever concept you just stepped out of within your mind. So even then, you're still creating a cloth. So before you became aware, that was just we were all just spaces within space, just basically no thing, essentially. And we weren't aware, we didn't exist. It's just space, like space is just, I can't really term it anything. Even the space is like sort of more like, yeah. I don't want to go too deep into that actually, but yeah, when it comes to this, like the state of being not aware, right? All of that shit. Like, you can't really become unaware anymore, even when you like step out of the mind, like I just said. So when it comes to you and your creative vibes of you and your creator energy, or all of us as collective spirits, as collective solo spirits, this is why they call it having a soul. Because once you became aware, you separated yourself from no thing. You became aware of your existence and of others' existence around you. So now you've created a mind around yourself. And now it's like working towards creating a lighter mind, something that's more closer to being unaware. But like in doing so, you still have to use your awareness. So you're always like bringing something to nothing, if that makes sense. But if it doesn't, that's fine too, because like sometimes you just need to hear it a couple more times, or you might need to just like experience life. But regardless, you're the observer of your mind and of your space. So you just need to realize, love. Don't know why the British one comes out so often, but anyways, when it comes to those kind of shiz, yeah, I was talking about One Piece, and then somehow I got onto talking about how spirits is like no thing. But that's what I wanted to talk about is like the One Piece is like kind of like being at peace, being like, and that's a form of like kind of closer, that's lighter, I would say, in terms of the mind. It's not so heavy and dense like the minds that we're creating and the bodies that we're creating with our minds, with our spaces now. But it's still a mind. But still, it's getting back to that one piece. And the oneness is like kind of a representation of like, well, I don't know. I wouldn't go so far to say that because I was gonna say like wholeness, but then I'm like really thinking about it, right? One is kind of separate still in its totality anyway. So, but it's like that that as well just goes to show as well what I was just explaining. So it's like that totality being one piece, getting back to one piece, which is more closer to no thing, is more a sense of peace. It's a lighter state of mind, a lighter state of being, a lighter body. And so it's kind of more, peaceful. It's not being having to be aware of so many different things or develop so many different minds. So that's the one piece. But then also still it's one. So it's still representative of solo. So you're still being separate. So it's like finding your own sense of peace, of nothing within the one, with being within the space of being separate, within being an individual, right? So this is why as well the devil fruit that Luffy has is like the fruit of the sun god too, because it's representative. The sun is representative of like the character or the persona, like the expression. So like your sun sign. This is why your sun sign. They usually learn about your sun sign first, because it's more like your kind of sun. It's the first thing that you kind of um your first. I wouldn't say your first mind. It's more like your most outer layer of your mind, really, and that's what your sun is. So when you get to the moon, that's more like closer to your first mind. But even that's not your first mind. It's just a you know, things condensed from the within going to without, or as above, so below, as they say, as it is in heaven, which is really just your higher natures, like your lighter state of mind before you start to fully condense into reality, into flesh. And then what's it called? That one piece is just, and that sun is just a representation of your most outer version of yourself. So that's like how showing as well, like even in the world of the One Piece, where Luffy is, he's got the devil fruit of the sun. He is the most outer expression of this whole entire show. He's a representation of what this show expresses, like all its outer expressions, its actions, its how it's seen, and stuff like that, or what is seen from it, you know. So all of those stuff is like representation of how Luffy is the main character of being the collective of every single thought and feeling, or man and woman character within the show, even down to the animals. Those are just like more his animalistic natures and stuff. And that's why as well, like even they have Lucci, like he literally has the same name. His name's Lucci or whatever, and I'm pretty sure he has like a devil fruit where he can change into an animal. So this is like really good show to break down this, because like the whatever Freemason or whatever he was that did this show, um most likely a Freemason, was what's it called? Definitely into the practice. He definitely knew what he was doing when he made the show, or as he's making the show, because he's still making the show, and or the manga, whichever. I think he makes both, but I'm not too knowing about that kind of shit. Anyways, too knowing. So yeah, the One Piece, going back to that One Piece, bringing back us like us something to nothing, so you can experience something more like it is nothing. You can experience hard things in life like they aren't anything, and that's one of the main things of the show. Is like what does Luffy love to do? He loves to have fun. He almost takes things as a joke, really. He doesn't take things so seriously, and a lot of other people in the show tend to take things seriously. So those are the parts of himself that he's like seeing as taken seriously, and however he interacts with that character is how much he enjoys to be taken seriously in that area of whatever the character of whatever the character represents. I don't know what happened with my voice there, but we'll just leave it. It's all right. I don't know. It probably sounds normal. Sometimes when your voice does that thing, but it sounds normal. Anyways, yeah. So the One Piece, that's the One Piece, and every single character, like even there's certain ones that he um takes on and with the crew, and he clashes with them. So those are two parts of himself that he like kind of like connects to or relates to or uses as like more beneficial in terms of his thoughts and feelings. But he also might clash with that at certain times, and it might cause certain friction and oppositions within his life too. So when you talk about that, like you can apply that to like a lot of shows. Like when it comes to like shows that are popular, like One Piece, a lot of animes are good for that. Like when it comes to breaking down those kind of stuff, that template that I just broke down, but also what's it called? When it comes to like any show that's really popular, like really up in the limelight, really pushed to the forefront, you know what I mean? Like, because that's usually the Freemasons, like usually I'm not gonna go ahead and say that like everything that's popular is like done by the Freemasons, but just a lot of the big stuff, like anything that's like kind of more blown up. Because they really control the algorithms and everything like that. It's all artificial at the end of the day. Like if you think that it's not artificial online, like when it comes to certain algorithms and all that kind of stuff, untag. Like it's crazy. People see it every day. Like a lot of people are cracking onto that shit. So a lot of people like just aren't dumb like that anymore. Like as opposed to like maybe people like back in the days, like even the same people who might have been dumb, like we're all going through a shift where we're having to raise our intelligence. Like we're having to like kick up our intelligence when it comes to a lot of the things in our lives, mate. And this is why a lot of people are like you can just see a lot of people are shifting. Everyone says like it's just the world is changing, but it's more like a mental shift because if we're all collectively manifesting our reality, right? We're all condensing everything with our thoughts and our feelings, which is created or mutated through our awareness, transmutated or whatever. These thoughts and feelings that are, being when you're aware of something, now you start to manifest it and condense it. So whether or not um you can what's it called? Like whether or not you want to be aware of that, like is a different story. But just regardless, when you become aware of something, it starts to manifest because that's the substance that we use as spirits to condense things into our reality. And so that's like why it's good to treat certain things that you're aware of like they're nothing because now you're like kind of adding like more something more closer to being unaware to that situation. And so that's allowing you to help to bring a lighter mind for yourself and not have like turbulent waters with so many different thoughts and feelings and waves coming from all kind of different like freaking things that you've got going on in your life, so many different waves that you don't even like know which way is up and which way is down, which way is left, which way is right. You just like end up lost in like a whole bunch of different waves. And now you don't even know, like you might even like start to wave. I don't know. That was random. Don't mind me. That probably has nothing to do at all. But I just said that out of nowhere. Anyways, take that part with a grain of salt. So yeah, when it comes to the one police, I think I broke that down as much as I would like to. Um, yeah, all that shitness, all that sugars. It's like good shit, and because I don't know, sometimes it happens. Sometimes I was gonna say sometimes mental illness happens, but don't mind me. Anyways, let's go. I'm just trying to think of any other topics. Well, currently it is Taurus moon. If anyone would like to know, it is Taurus moon during this time. Last time I checked was like earlier today. And yeah, Taurus moon is all about reacting and responding to a sense of stability, security, safety, and all those kind of Taurus consistency kind of energies, right? So we're going to be wanting to react in some form, way, shape, or form like to stability, security, and safety. And if you're opposite sign to Taurus, which is Scorpio, then you will be more in that energy of thinking that you need to do the opposite because you're the opposite sign. So you like Scorpios are more what's it called? Scorpios are more transformative. Like when it comes to things, like they love, like they have all kinds of transformations when it comes to Scorpio energy, right? So when Scorpios are transformative, that's obviously the opposite of stability, security, and safety, but also has qualities of that too, because you can transform in order to gain a sense of stability and security. So this is why they're opposites too, because they have certain attributes and certain different relationship with each other. So when it comes to them being opposites, as a Scorpio moon or a sun, maybe rising in a Mars as well, maybe you might be more inclined to react in the opposite kind of way of what might be needed right now. So you might feel the need to like transform a certain situation by expressing yourself about something, or you may or like manipulating, because that's also like the other side of Scorpio as well. And when it comes to Scorpio, you might also just feel like you want to be in your feelings about something or transform or be in a desire or about something, because Scorpio can also relate to the desire or your desires, like a deep passion or desire, because it's the dark side of Mars. So it's like Mars is like passion, motivation, and direction and sex. And then like the dark side of Mars will be like desire and passion. So like those kind of go hand in hand a little bit there. So when it comes to the being a Scorpio, you might be more inclined to act in those kind of energies of being Scorpio, or react and respond, or if it's your moon, or act if it's your sun. And if it's your Mars, then like that's more um kind of a secondary energy of like your actions in a way, because like it's your motivations, it's what drives you, it's your passions, but it's like kind of an internal version of that, which is like why it's fire as well, I reckon. So yar, yar, I don't know about that word, but it came out. So yeah, when it comes to those kind of energies, we're going to be wanting to react and respond a little bit more in a stable or secure way, something that's going to bring us stability and security and safety. So really, this kind of video is not really received well during this time, I reckon, because I didn't really put up like a thumbnail. If I put up a thumbnail, that would have been a little bit more related to stability, security, and safety. But I could be wrong in that aspect. So this will be a good way to test and a good way to see. But regardless, I tend to get like few views anyway, which like I don't give a fuck. But it just would be easier to know if I had like, a few more viewers or something like that regularly, not just like, yeah. But regardless, I don't want to talk about that because, like, who gives a fuck? Anyways, because I'm like, in my mind, I'm not trying to put any thoughts into that, I don't want to put my awareness into that. But even now, that's more awareness. But yeah, let's go. Next subject. Yeah, and then if you're square, you might need to learn from those aspects. So square would be Leo and Aquarius, I'm pretty sure. Those are the square placements for Taurus. And we're in Libra Sun, so we're going to be reacting to and responding to some form of stability, security, safety, when it comes to the way that and then that's going to be filtered through our actions, which is going to be acting on um, being relatable or some form of balance during Libra season. I think we're still in Libra season. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we are still in Libra season. So yeah, when you're reacting and responding to those like stability, security, safety, and shelter, Taurus vibes, then you're gonna be like expressing it in a balanced way, in a more like relatable way, you know what I mean? So you're not going to be so like down in the dumps. You're going to be more relatable to others. And yeah, that'll just change, as the transits change. So this is why I love to break down the transits, because I think that this is like, to me, this is like the new news. That's how I see it. It's better than the new news. Like, this is what the news is based off, really. Like, because they even base like the certain news channels based on the alignments as well. So if I'm not mistaken, I might need to check that out because I don't watch news myself, but I'm pretty sure they do it based on the alignments. Like even certain ads, like they certain releases, like they like time it based on like whatever transit is going on, and so on and so forth. And then they release it in certain dates. This is why some people say that astrologers are billionaires or something like that. Like, but really, it's just like, doesn't even matter about money. It's just about abundance in general. And astrology is really just a tool. It's just a tool or a template to understand something about life, really. It's just literally a tool to understand like life in its most purest way. It's not about like really the chart or anything like that. That's just the template or the tool for you to actually understand like life, which you should just be understanding it in general. But a lot of people forgot. Well, pretty much everyone really. Like, so that's why sometimes you need tools and stuff like that to understand certain things. But really, like, we need to get to a point where we don't need those tools eventually. So there's a good and a bad in like a lot of different things, like a positive and a negative when it comes to those. So you just got to weigh out like which one is best at the which particular time, because arguably you wouldn't want to do like either if you objectively or subjectively, sorry, you subjectively view something as bad, you know. So, or even objectively, if something objectively is bad, you're obviously not going to want to do either. But like if like certain situations call for certain things, but I don't want to get into that. That sounds like weird vibes anyway. And actually, maybe I should, because I don't even want to put like a negative connotation to it, because like it could be really anything. But just like you wouldn't want to obviously argue or cause conflicts in your house, but certain situations might cause for you to like set up a boundary, and sometimes that might end up causing a certain conflict anyway. So some things just happen. But that's also based on our awareness too. I don't want to just say that too. Like it's usually based on our awareness, right? And what kind of things we're paying attention to in order for us to act in certain ways. Like what mind are we building? Because like you have to think and feel first before you want to do anything, so that you're just like emanating it from your mind, and then that's like turning and condensing into your blood for your body to move and for you to act on whatever thought and feeling that you just wanted to enact, right? So like it's not, that's like for anyone who thinks that this is like some kind of pseudoscience as well, because at the end of the day, like it has more correlation than anything else. And this is shout out to Dollar Department Man, the OG. So, in the truest sense. So, yeah, when it comes to all that she's, that she's is not you. You are the observer. You are not the physical flesh, the mind, the thoughts, the feelings. None of them. So don't think that you are, because that's just not you. You're not a star. Like, this is more like a star. These are like stars. That's why it's got 5 points. But yeah, anyways, don't want to get distracted. I want to keep it like concise, keep it stable, secure, keep it safe. I guess in a way, this is kind of like matching the energy a little bit, anyways, because it's like kind of relatable, filtered through that Libra energy. Got that little bit of relatability, because I'm in the garage, like it's not so formal, which I don't know, my videos aren't formal anyway, but I just feel like the garage gives casual vibes, and that actually makes sense too, because I feel more casual in this space rather than like when I'm in a room or something. And that's where I'm like kind of being in a more serious state, You get the vibes. You get it. I need to get it. But if you don't, that's fine. But regardless, Miss Taurus thing, Miss Sagittarius hing, I think, yeah, I'm gonna end this video because I ended up going like on a whole tangent, and I literally said it. I remember I said it at the start that I was gonna do a short video. So let's just close this one here, alright? Let's just leave this one, alright? I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some nugs. Let me know, what do you think? Like, did I explain it in a concise way? Or do you think that it seems like jargon? I don't know. Opinions are We are open to opinions always. Even if even if I was like not to say that in the video, like I'm always open to opinions and people to know, like, or to be able to tell me certain things. But at a certain point, like, I don't really have to take it on. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'll always be open to hearing stuff, but that's not a guarantee that I'm always going to take certain advice on, because I might do something for my own reasons. So regardless, but I'm always open to them. That's the point. That's the main thing. I just wanted to, like, sometimes I just gotta put in that little thing from the side, like that Gemini Mercury comes in, and it's like you gotta, like, put the two sides, put the twins like right there. You gotta put that side and that side of it. Can't just like explain one thing. But that's all right. Anyways, laters. Peace. Hope you enjoy.